This is a quick introduction video to support you with the online portfolio, which is Onefile. So a few weeks after your induction, you will be set up on this and you will receive an email directly from Onefile, which will provide you with your login details. If you haven't received this within a couple of weeks, please inform your assessor or the PTS head office, who will support you further. So when you log on to Onefile, which is onefile.co.uk, you will see this screen that I'm showing you, and using your login details, you'll go to login. And your login details will be a username consisting of your first initial and your surname and a number, and you will be provided with a temporary password which you will need to update when you first log into the system, and then you will log back in and you will be able to use your Onefile account. So when you first log in to Onefile, you will be given a licensing agreement which you will just need to accept, just to say obviously how you are going to agree to use the software. And if you scroll down to the bottom of that, then you will be able to sign that to continue. So when you first enter Onefile, and every time you log back into Onefile, you will see what is known as your portfolio dashboard. And this really is just an overview of what's been happening in your Onefile account. But in all honesty, although this is a nice holding page, this isn't really the view that we want to see. The best thing to do with your Onefile is to go onto your portfolio, which is the second icon down on the left-hand side. So if you click on portfolio, you will then come to this screen, which is a very similar screen to what your assessor will see from their side of Onefile as well. So on this screen, you will see all the learning aims that you have been assigned for. So that will be your main apprenticeship or your main course. If you are doing any functional skills for maths and English, for example, this will be on here as well. And then there may be other various courses or learning aims, for example, your endpoint assessment, which will show on here. And this will enable you throughout the programme to look at your current progress and your target progress, so where you should be with all of these. And the endpoint assessment, obviously right at the end of your course, so this will not really change until you have completed all your studies. So when you first log into this page, really this is the first icon up in the right hand corner that you will want to look at, as you will be initially set with a couple of tasks to do, your welfare task and a VAC questionnaire. So already when you sign in, there will be 2 tasks set for you here. And ongoing, this icon up here will show you every task that you have been set to do on Onefile. So this may be things like signing your progress review or any preparation work for functional skills or tasks that you have been set. So if you drop down this list, this will show you everything that you have been set so far on Onefile. And again, to start with, it may be also to update your information on here. So this will list, like I say, everything that has been set, and I have gone in and just set as your assessor your first initial teaching, learning and assessment plan. Now you can either look at that here and open that, but also there are various ways to get to that on Onefile. And we also look at this light bulb here. So this is exactly the same way to get to it, but it's quite nice to look at it from the home, from the portfolio page. So this light bulb will show you any teaching, learning and assessment plans that have been set up for you by your assessor. And this is an agreement that you have worked with your assessor either in a workshop or one-to-one to gain the knowledge to complete a piece of work. So following that session with your assessor, or in preparation for an observation or professional discussion, you will be set a teaching, learning and assessment plan. So you can either click here, or again, click up here to go to that. I just tend to find this light bulb is the easier way to do it. So you would click on that square and you will see here that I've been set an induction plan. So this really is just the overview of what you have done with your assessor, and your main task for now is just to accept that. So that is your acceptance to say, yes, I've worked with my assessor, I know I have got some work to do. It will give you an overview of your work. It will give you the date that it was set, so when you had your meeting with your assessor, and the date that it is due in. And it will also have any attachments that your assessor has told you about. So these could be worksheets for you to complete. They may be supporting documents with more information for you to look through. And also you will have a full assessment plan. So that's very important, as that will show you all the tasks that you have been set for that session. So although it's here, it may just be easier for you to open up your Word document and save that to your system, as that will show you not only maybe the elements you've got to complete, but also other elements that belong to the unit that you are working on. As you scroll down, actually on your portfolio page, you will have some other boxes here, some boxes that show your progression and other areas that we'll be talking to you about, your functional skills or your 20% off the job training. And it will also show you what other resources may be there to support you, links to websites and things like that. So you will have a couple of extra boxes here. Your assessor will then leave you a comment, just a generic comment, to say obviously, you know, if there's anything else you need to know. And really what you need to do for this one is accept that. So this is really just to give you all the details and the knowledge and a confirmation that you have been in learning with your assessor and that you are agreeing to the task set. Now, if anything isn't clear on here, for example, it's not clear maybe on the title what you need to do, or there isn't the correct details on the task overview or attachments, then you may want to reject that assessment plan and explain why. And I would always obviously give that feedback to your assessor. But if you're happy with everything, you would click that and sign that and accept that. And we do ask that that's done as soon as possible after your assessor has set that up for you, following your teaching session. So once you accept that, it will take you to the list here of things to do. This is really taking you back to this link here. And you'll see that you've still got some details here following that assessment plan. So again, you can look at it here, or I'm just going to take you back to the portfolio page, because as I mentioned, there are always a couple of options of where you can go to. So if I just go back to the portfolio page, this will sit in this middle box here. So if you're sort of a bit confused of what you're working on and the list up here is getting too long and too detailed, it's always best to come back to this portfolio page and check where things are sitting. So really nothing should sit in the light bulb area for very long. That does need to be signed and accepted as soon as possible. And then it will move here. And this is where you can still access all the details from your plan, but also where you will be able to upload your work when it is ready to send to your assessor. So Onefile does slightly change the title of the learning activities. So this is your assessment plan, so it's still clear what you're linking to, but you'd click on the details that Onefile gives you. In this case, it's ASN1, and this takes you to your plan. So here again are all your details. Here is the task that's been set for you, all your learning resources, so you can still access those. And the difference with this one is it has these two blue buttons here, the set criteria, which actually you do not need to worry about. That will be how your assessor goes in and marks your work, but also enables you to add the attachment. So once your work is completed, you would upload it here. So you add your attachment, which will take you through to be able to select files from your computer. So you can click any file on here. I will just upload this one here. And when you feel you've got everything attached, you would attach that to your Onefile plan, your assessment plan. You'll see that attached here. Now you can attach as you go through your unit, or you can attach it all in one go. This will sit here and the assessor will not be able to access this until you send it to them. So again, it's quite nice for the assessor to tell them what evidence you may have attached. So please find attached, and tell the assessor a little bit about what they're expecting. You can either do that here or here, so a couple of places again. But you might want to sort of tell them what you have done. And then really importantly, what we would like to know is how long you've spent on that unit. So it may be that you've spent, and this is minutes, so you do have to think about how many minutes you've spent, not hours. So you would put how many minutes you spent. Now, if you have been fortunate enough to do the whole of your assignment in your working hours, you can click as off the job. But in all honesty, most people will have tended to have done some in work placement and some at home. So it's probably not beneficial to click off the job here, but to break that time down, and I'll show you how to do that in a moment. So put the minutes that you've spent doing your whole assignment, and don't forget, that's not just the writing, that's the research, it's any time you may have spent in your placement learning about certain aspects of your role. So it could be health and safety or safeguarding. So make sure you do show how much work you have put into this unit there. Now that will sit there, you can save it if you like, and it will sit there waiting to be ready to be sent to your assessor. But when you're absolutely ready and you're ready to send that to your assessor, you would sign it here, and then you will save and quit that. And that then will go to your assessor, and they will get a notification that it will be with them and that it is ready to be marked. And you will see here that this is now sitting here with the assessor. So before it said learner, and now you've got it sitting with the assessor, and that means it is going to be marked by them. Now the assessor will mark it and they will feed it back to you. So they may resubmit it back to you if they need any further work done, and you will see from their feedback if that's the case. Or again, they may accept everything that you sent through and they will mark off the criteria and they will accept it, and again you will see that through your feedback. So if we go back to the portfolio page now, there we are. Okay, so that's now sitting with the assessor, and once that's marked off, this one pending will disappear. There are other ways to look at that as well. Here are your learning and assessment plans. So this is the light bulb icon there. And then right at the bottom here, this is all the work someone's got to do. You will see when the assessor has marked that, you will see all your work come here, and you'll be able to see what you have achieved so far. So just scrolling back up to the portfolio page, there are some other icons I just want to draw your attention to. Progress review, so your assessor will set those up for you, and they will always set the next review, so you should always see when your next progress review is going to be due, and this will turn to red if that's ever been overdue. So obviously please be talking to your assessor if you notice that, and in your progress review they will go through that with you. And again, once that is completed, you'll get an icon up in the top here right hand corner to ask you to sign that, and that will also be something that your employer or line manager is involved in. A couple of other icons just to know about at the beginning, and again you will learn more about Onefile as you work through. Timesheets are really important, or your journal. Now these actually sort of merge into one place, so as long as you click off the job, this will merge together, and this will take account of your off the job training. And you'll see here, this will give you a percentage of where you are on your off the job. So we roughly recommend about 1.1%-ish each month. This should be moving up by, and you've got to achieve 20% here by the end of your qualification to enable you to pass through. So it's a timesheet. So anytime you do some off-the-job training, so that could be shadowing or attending a workshop or doing training or research or anything we say that is an experience that you've learned, so a new piece of learning within your working hours, you would go into here and you would create a timesheet entry. And this is really important. I said you do need to go in here at least weekly, fortnightly at the most, and be uploading anything you may have done within your work setting. So for example, I could say here, I attended a workshop on health and safety, And you may want to give a bit more detail about what that covered. I'm going to put that down as, I would normally put that down as a workshop, but that's not coming up here. So I'm just going to put that down as work shadowing on this one. It was during my working hours in my setting, so I am going to make sure that is ticked as off the job here. I'm just going to put a start date and a start time. And I'm going to say that I spent 2 hours on that, and you do need to put your hours and your minutes. And then you would save that. And again, that will start building up here everything that you've done. So there we are, there's the assessment that I've uploaded, there's the work shadowing I've done, and this is my off the job. And it will show you and gradually build up your off the job hours. And this is something that you will need to be doing and will be reviewed in your progress review. You can do a similar thing in your learning journal. And your assessor may also just upload some information in your learning journal. So again, very similar idea. And some people like to use the timesheet entry. Some people like to use the learning journey, the journal entry, and that's absolutely fine. So again, you could put a title here, health and safety workshop. Again, you might put some details about what you may have done on that. So I'm going to put here online learning, for example. Again, you can choose your category here. Off the job, you would want to tick again, and again you could put your date. So it's a very similar process. Like I say, just people will find their own way of working through this. The nice thing about this is you can attach files. Now, just be careful though, your assessor won't know to mark anything that's on here, but it's quite a nice way if you want to just show that you've done some extra learning. We would always ask for your certificates anyway, but if you've got something on here that you want to add attachments, that's the slight difference that you can do in the journal. So again, we would save that. So you don't do both, you would just do either or, and you will then also could build up this journal entry. And that will show here, and it will also show in your timesheets. So just a few ways of doing things for you. The journal is nice because actually you might want to just keep some other notes in there, you know, just to look back on at a later date. So you can do either, but the timesheet is a very quick entry with no attachments, and the journal just gives you a little bit more detail. But you can see both of these have gone into the off-the-job training. Okay, and the other thing is you can edit it when you go through the timesheet. So just be aware that it's not so easy to edit. You have to go back and edit it in the journal. So that's the main icons that you will need to start with when you use Onefile. The only other thing you may be directed to by your assessor is the resource section. So here you've got, again, lots of different ways of reaching all these icons. So there's your journal, there's your timesheets. And if you scroll down here, you also will have access to the resources. So if you go on to resources, there will be resources here that you may want to access. Again, this is just a test model, so there's not anything in here, but when you do have your setup, you will be able to access that. Now, as you can see, Onefile has got lots on here, and you will progress to learning more and doing more through this as we go on. But that hopefully will get you started with Onefile and enable you to start with your first pieces of work. And again, if you have any questions, please ask your assessor as you carry on through your course.